For Underline, I really want to focus on the logistics of making Miss Han's death both authentic and shocking. To achieve this, I want to work with the production designers, greens department, and wardrobe department to really focus on building the gritty, heartbreaking, and melancholy world our characters are trapped in during the scene. This involves acquiring props such as police cars, Daniel's camcorder, police uniforms, and Barsati's gun. These props play such a huge part in many different ways. Acquiring the police uniforms and the car is essential in order to establish the authoritarian tone of Barsati, as they amplify how intimidating he is, as well as setting up this false sense of security for the audience. This makes it so much scarier when someone of his status can be revealed as so violent. Lighting will be a large factor in the creation of this scene due to us filming at night. I'll be working with the DP to utilise lighting already present in the scene. This includes using Barsati and Ward's police issued torches, street lights, and the police car tail lights. A chunk of the budget will go towards casting. Our main pick for Barsati will be Jon Bernthal. I believe his work in shows such as The Punisher, The Walking Dead, and Baby Driver will make him a perfect choice for this intimidating character we need. The role of Miss Han will be played by Lisa Liu. We hope that the juxtaposition of these two characters will be perfect for the scene. My main inspirations for Underline come from producer David Lancaster's Nightcrawler and Keira Davis's Prisoners. Films and TV shows such as Fargo and Bad Times at the El Royale also use location to amplify style, which means that it is crucial that I acquire access to filming by the Las Vegas flood tunnels for aesthetic purposes. And finally, as a producer, my main obstacle will be acquiring a permit to film on location at the flood tunnel entrances. Health and safety checks will be mandatory when working around this terrain. In addition, I will also need to contact the local police department for the green light of the content we're filming. This is particularly due to the nature of us using police cars, weapons, uniforms, and shooting the stunts of Barsati killing Miss Han.
As a director, I give notes and suggestions to the actors during the production period. I want to specify it on 3 of the characters that lead the scene. First is Irvin. Irvin is not very good with handling changes, especially under extreme circumstances and stressed. I want the actor to have a gradual change in emotions on different phases of the scene, from nervous to panic and rage. Here's Daniel. Daniel has an abnormal behavior in the scene. He's normally very impulsive and focused on seeking righteousness, but instead he remains calm and prevents Irvin from revealing their possessions, while also record the accidents as evidence. At last, we have Officer Barsati. John is a perfect actor for this role, and from referencing his past performance in Punisher the series, I would like him to have an extra aggressiveness and anger in this scene, like all he cared about is solving this case and promotion in his career. Here's the shot of a storyboard that the cinematographer and I have worked on in pre-production period. On the top left corner, we have the perspective of Dan and Irvin looking down, and in the middle, we have the actual scene that's occurring in the tunnel. On left, we have the police cars, and right, where we have the officers and guns. Lighting of the sets. Here we have some do's and don'ts of the look of the scene. I like my scene to be properly well lit to prevent a quality loss in film and bring noise in the process. And don'ts, we have different shots have to be unified in one color tone, otherwise it will bring the audience out of the picture. The cinematography. I specified the color blue in this scene as it represents a feeling of passivity and isolation. Given that Miss Han is being interrogated by Officer Barsati, as she feels alone and hopeless, it perfectly represents the color. Next, we have the red color tone from the police car lights. The color red brings a sense of danger and violence. It also sends a message that someone's going to die in the scene. Sound design. In the middle of the scene, the weather turns bad. Sound is the perfect tool to change the rhythm of the scene, as it can use intense background music or using the sounds of lightning strikes to build up or speed up the tensions of the scene, which affect the audience emotion. This can also be done in post-production. Next is the movie reference and style. First is from the movie Get Out. It uses a lot of big close-up and point-of-view angle, which just make the scene very dramatic and creative. We have the film Jurassic Park, focusing especially in the T-Rex scene. It uses a sense of blue, purple, and dark color, which matches perfectly in our scene.
In order to set the scene, we would use motivated lighting similar to how it's been created in the film Driver in both colour and techniques. This will involve enhancing the lighting that is already there in order to set the scene. There are two separate areas within the setting that need lighting, Dan and Irvin and the police with Miss Hahn. Therefore, practical lighting is needed for the whole location. In order to light these areas, we are looking to light the scene with these motivations: street lamps, a police car, lightning, rain reflections, and a torch. In place of key light, white LED panels will emphasise the street lamp effect of top lighting over the police, however giving Dan and Irvin a more natural light. This will often be balanced out through the creative addition of storm and lightning, using halogen pads to completely light the scene for a few seconds, therefore increasing the pace and tension. Although able to use lighting from a prop police car, this effect can be created through the use of red and blue gels over lights, similar to the lighting in Drive. This will then be reflected onto the wet floor, creating a bounce board for the scene and lighting the characters with a red light, warning the danger of Bassotti. The small addition of a torch on the floor will add an extra sense of realism to the piece. The overall look of the scene will follow a blue tone, which will be created through the camera's white balance, as well as post-production. The colour temperature will be altered in the camera settings at a temperature above 5000 Kelvin, creating a slightly colder feeling to match the overall tone of the scene. In regards to the camera work, techniques ranging through high and low angles, insert shots, close-ups and focus pulling, as well as camera movements such as panning, tilting and tracking, are used to build tension and portray different levels of power within the scene. One key technique is the use of high angles versus low angles, most noticeably during the Bassotti and Miss Hahn interactions. These clips are all static shots which allow the audience to clearly evaluate the scene, simply shot using a tripod at a higher and lower angle. Both angles use a wider lens in order to make their subject appear larger or smaller accordingly. In one of the latter shots, this technique will feature Bassotti from the scene's lowest angle. It forces the viewer into the perspective of now deceased Miss Hahn, implying that Bassotti has reached ultimate power. This shot is quite recognisable when staging the characters in The Dark Knight. To emphasise the power imbalance, the initial pan shot which enters the audience into the police narrative will showcase Miss Hahn in the centre of the police and the police car. This character placement within the pan traps Miss Hahn between the law, giving her no place to run and inevitable inferiority. This continues throughout the scene with a few wide-angle shots which place both superiors on the lines within the rule of thirds.
In Underline's post-production, I need to focus on creating the perfect tone to supplement the story, and this will be done within the colour grading process. I will work closely with the director of Underline in order to achieve their vision for the final piece. As you can see here in the mood board, they would like me to utilise red, green and blue at different stages of the film. I plan on putting emphasis on Bassotti's character and his portrayal of anger and delusional tendencies by utilising the colour red during the colour grading process, while I will use the blue tone during scenes when Irvin and Daniel are joking around to give that calm and harmonistic feeling to the film. Finally, I will add a black tone to the scene when Irvin and Daniel are sneaking up in the bushes towards Bassotti to add to the mystery and fear surrounding the area when they see Miss Hahns. I will use Jurassic Park as inspiration for the tone of the film, as they use a colour palette of blue, purple and black. Blue is used to show calm and stability, while purple is utilised to give some mysterious vibes to a scene, and then finally black is used in scenes that depict fear and evil. For TV series, Riverdale is a great inspiration for our film, due to its constant mysterious tone and its use of darker colours such as blue and black to depict mystery and evil. When it comes to transitions for this type of film, I will aim to only use dissolve at the start and at the end of the film itself, as I believe fancy transitions like that doesn't fit in with the tone of the story and instead will have the scenes cut to one another.